May I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Kryptonite Show. Your host Superman in the house, and man, we got a big interview for you today, and it is the Prairie Banana. We're going to meet him very, very soon, and of course, we're going to be talking about the alien encounter with PTGC and the UFO. Obviously, I think for everybody, one of the top projects on Pulse Chain with a pretty amazing and engaged community as well. So we're going to hear all about PTGC and UFO. I know many of you are very, very fond of those. So I hope you guys enjoy the show coming up. I think it's going to be an absolute alpha drop. And yeah, enjoy. It couldn't be better either because obviously stock market is up today. Crypto is up today. And of course, it's a good time to get into some of the blue chips like PTC and UFO. We've got a few people in the chat there just going to say hello to quickly. We've got DG and Hex in the house there. Superman, lots of love. Big shout out to you. Gugard, the founder of the Kings in the house there, crushing it with your stuff as well. A big shout out there. And yeah, smash the likes on the way in, absolutely. And we got the Grays Currency in the house. What's up, Superman? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman in the house. That's all I can say. But it's a pleasure to have you in the chat there. And big shout out to your community. I hope you guys really enjoy it. So before we just get into introducing Prairie Banana, we're just going to make sure that we're streaming on X and get the show out. So we are live on there. So that's fantastic. Let me just post the link in the chat there so you guys can share it around. And I encourage you to do that for all the streamers that you're following. It really helps with the algorithm. So share the show, on X. And X is very friendly to the influencers. So we like it. We like it a lot. So definitely get into that. We got Richie Robinson in the house there with Superman. Woohoo! Yeah, get excited for sure. And that is the show link right there. So just share that around if you can. Well, that's enough of an intro. I think it's about the time to meet the Prairie Banana, the man, the myth, and the legend. So was he alien? I don't know. You guys decide. Big shout out. Here we go. So big welcome to the show.
Thanks, Superman.
Superman.
Wow, quite an intro.
Yeah.
I'm posting this to my Twitter right now, so bear with me 1 second. I just got
sure thing.
Okay, there you go.
We're going to get the drum roll going, I think.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're in.
Superman's here.
Superman's here, yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And you have your own show. You cover PTC and UFO. And you're kind of the I don't know. Are you the quant of PTC and UFO?
I'm not. I don't know what the quant is.
The quant is. Have you seen The Big Short, the movie?
No.
No. Well, a quant's like a mathematical genius. It's a big compliment.
Oh, no. Now I'm a data head, but I'm actually pretty challenged when it comes to like high level math.
High level math. Yeah.
Yeah. The founder of the Grays Currencies is very good with math. I am not, but I love math. I mean, ask me to show you my spreadsheet sometime. If you want,
I would love to see that.
Deer in the headlights look. I love metrics, and I like math. I'm just not real great at it. So I use ChatGPT a lot for those spreadsheet formulas. No, am I the quant? I wouldn't. I'm probably one of maybe three. So myself, Grays, and Crypto Kong. I don't know if you know him. He's another real numbers guy.
Right.
But, and there are others. But yeah.
Well, you're definitely going to have to see The Big Short to know exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty funny. It's a funny scene in the movie as well. So
really,
I'm sure you'll enjoy that. Yeah, The Big Short. The Big Short.
It was about the last big crash, right?
Yeah, the Great Recession. Yeah,
of our day.
Of our day. Yeah. Was it the Great Recession? They call it. Yeah. So yeah, it's great to have you on the show. I love your map in the background. Very, very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a historical map.
Yeah, I have my own nerdy bent myself, so it's great to see that on there. I'd just love to hear a little bit about yourself first of all, I guess, to kick it off. Okay. And what you feel comfortable with talking about.
Starts off with a very sad story, I must admit.
Is it? Let's go.
August 2021. August 2021. After messing around with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin and other coins, I discovered Hex and bought the top. Oh. And after that, it got real happy. It gets happy because I've been cost averaging ever since.
Well, a lot of people can relate to that story. So I think,
I think maybe you.
No, not me. No. I was there day one on the AA lobby. That's probably as close as it gets, the AA lobby there.
Okay. Woo. Congratulations. Yeah. And so when I discovered Hex, I put everything on Hex, man. And I was like, this is the cat's meow. Mm-hmm. I love this. Now, could I understand it and articulate everything that it does? Absolutely not. It took me a long time to understand Hex because I was also being introduced to crypto at the same time.
Yeah.
But then messed around with a couple other projects in the interceding years. And then last year, I discovered the Gray's currencies. Thanks to Crypto Kindness and Access Alive, both of those two, and some others. But when I discovered the Gray's currencies, PTGC and UFO, it was another kind of ecosystem or projects like Hex to where I was thriving community, a masterfully done projects with amazing tokenomics that I couldn't quite understand, but I could grasp a little bit of it from the Telegram group, and from what I was picking up and what I was able to understand, it's just one of those projects that I was like, okay, I'm gonna really get into this one and understand it. And once I started to understand it, then I was like, this is it. I'm gonna hang my hat here.
Yeah,
and that's where I've been.
And so you've been there, and of course, PTC, the Grays, PTC, the first real DAO token on Pulse Chain as well.
Yes. Yep.
DAO
PTC
token
was the first DAO on Pulse Chain. Yep.
And it had just an incredible performance, still performing very well, and I know the future for it's very bright. And we're probably going to maybe look at the chart a bit later. A lot of influences behind it as well. So you've actually got a lot of big influences backing PTC and UFO. Have you had much interaction with them over the time that you've been covering it?
I'm sorry, did you say much attraction or much?
Much interaction, let's say, with the influence.
They hang around in our spaces. We have two spaces called public on Twitter.
Yeah,
spaces call a week two per week with the founder.
Oh, wow.
And others, so the whole community can come in, other people can come in, and we see some big people in the, you can see all the little icons in there. You're like, oh, so-and-so is listening.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting. People are catching on or have caught on to what's happening over in with the technology, the alien technology. Seeing UFO.
Well, it's pretty incredible. With the PTGC, do you want to give us a little bit of a breakdown about that?
Sure.
How that works in terms of buying, selling, or something like that? And
Okay, so it's a rewards-based token, and the rewards are community. So this is the first time I'm actually explaining it just like this.
Yeah.
So whenever there's a buy, a sell, or a transfer of PTGC tokens, there is a fee of 5%. Which gets distributed. Okay, 1% goes to all the other holders. 1% goes to stakers, people that have staked the token. 0.5% burns the token, so it's it started with a fixed supply, and now it's deflationary with that 0.5%. 0.5% is added to LP with Pulse, and those PLP tokens are burned at the 369 address.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then 2% goes to the DAO, and the DAO. The DAO always either buys and burns PTGC, which it has been doing a lot of recently, or it pairs with other assets. And you can look at this for the audience. If you go to secretobank.com, you can see almost all of our pairs in that, all the pairs that PTGC has. And all of those were, bought with, I think 90-something% of those were bought with DAO money. And those tokens also were sent to the dead address. So like the vast majority of our LP it's not locked, it's burnt, like inaccessible. So, and the genius, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but the genius of, because some people get repelled by, a fee-based token, but check this out. This is one of two alien techs that I like to refer to as alien techs that are built into PTGC, and that is you've got a 5% fee.
Yep.
2% goes to holders and stakers. Okay, so that's 2% that can be extracted once those holders and stakers, once it goes into their wallets. But then you got 3% building the system, burning tokens, adding LP. And what does the DAO do? It always burns tokens or adds LP. So you have, 20% of all the fee stays within the system. So it essentially has more going in than can be extracted of the fee.
That's brilliant. I love it. And that was the best breakdown I've ever heard. So well done. That was really awesome.
And for UFO, not to be underestimated.
Yep.
It is a 6% fee.
Yep.
So 3% goes to LP provider. So if you hold UFO or you want to hold UFO, you can pair it. You got to pair it on the DApp. Otherwise you don't partake in the 3% rewards, but you can pair it with Hex, eHex, Pulse, PulseX, Inc., PDI, or PTDC, but you'll pay the fee if you pair it with PTDC. So 3% of the fee, the 6% goes to LP providers, and 1% goes to holders. So just holding UFO, you earn reflections. And by the way, the tokens that are in LP do not earn reflections. So the people, at least right now in our brief history, the people that are holding UFO are making 5 times more APY than those that are LP. Right. But there's a reason to LP, and we can get into that. Sure. And then the fifth, if you wanted to call it the next percent, burns PTDC, and the 1% burns PTDC, and then 1% burns UFO. And UFO has been burning a lot of PTDC, like sometimes a little bit less than 1-to-1, but sometimes even greater than 5-to-1.
Wow. Okay. That's impressive. We got Good God in the house there. He loves the aliens. So does Hex Creator. Nice one. These guys dress up at the house at their home.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm gonna get in trouble. But that is an excellent breakdown. You said that in just your little sneak peek there, you talked about with UFO, you have to have it paired with in the app. So could you explain that a little bit?
Oh, sure. if there's the app is just a front end for the pairing for the LP. Yeah. You could do the same thing on PulseX, except you will forego. You would have the pairing, but you would not get the rewards from LP. The 3% that goes to LP providers. Yep. And those rewards are in Pulse, by the way. All the rewards just to be clear, all the rewards in PTDC are in PTDC. The reflections for UFO are in UFO, but the rewards for LPing are in Pulse. So if you like Pulse, just saying, I haven't had to buy Pulse since I made my LPs with UFO.
Fantastic. That's a great point. I mean, some of these guys in the chat, they're big players, and they're loving it. So it's obviously in the spot, the old UFO PTC reflections. Now, are you yourself? I guess you're participating across the board on that in terms of LPing as well.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And
all in when I do something.
All in. I love it. Now, with on the app, you're talking about on the website. Is that what you're talking about in particular?
Sorry, PulseTGC.com.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's another DApp which is look into PTDC.com that has and that's actually free. Look into PTDC. It's a paid site, but there are 2 tabs on the left and on the right. Those are free, and the one on the right is another DApp which you can use.
Okay.
So we have 2 so far.
All right, brilliant. All right, so this is the main one there, Pulse.
Yes, sir.
PulseTGC.com. Yep. So check that out, everybody, for sure. All right, so we've got so that's kind of an overview of PTC and UFO, and kind of your background leading into covering it. Now, just tell me, if you do a show, how often are your shows covering PTC UFO? About once a week or something like that?
6 times per week.
6 times. Wow.
Yes, well, we have 2 spaces.
Yeah.
2 voice chats where you can talk to the founder and the spaces. Okay. We have four events where you can talk to the founder, and then 2 presentations on YouTube that I do. So we have 6 opportunities for everybody that's interested or is already into the Grays to interact with not only the founder or myself, ask questions. And like when I do, I literally do a presentation on the Grays from start to finish. I can't include every little nuance every time, but I include a lot. Go watch. I challenge anybody to go watch my MA and tell me that I don't shell corn, because that's my intention, to give everything that I can in an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it takes, to help people on board. When I came into Hex, there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
And that's my kind of my heartbeat. I want to help people acclimate when they come in.
So I've been watching your show. I haven't been involved in a lot of those other community points that you just talked about. With your show, I noticed that you go through obviously the basics of PTGC UFO, but you also go through, I think, different strategies that people can play out, and I think that's brilliant. And I think that hits to what you were talking about, helping people on board. It's not just learning what the taxes are, which are important, but actually how could you potentially get the most out of it, depending on what your goals are. Could you give us a little bit about that? You went in that direction, which I think is brilliant. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, we can talk a lot about that. First, I'd like to back up and say that these tokens are, for people that are brand new to the chain. If somebody comes across this video and they're like, "Hey, I want to jump into Pulse Chain, hear a lot about it, but I don't know where to start." These tokens are an index of the blue chip assets, the most promising assets, the Richard Hart assets on Pulse Chain, and other curated, handpicked projects on Pulse Chain. So they're an index. What does that mean? That means that you can, by holding PTGC or UFO, you own a little piece of all of these other assets. So, I'm sorry. What was the
is that in reflection to the pairings that are paired up to? Is that what you mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So like the pairings. We can when we get to the chart, we can talk about
charts. We'll talk about that. Yeah, we're just kind of giving the high level at the moment. We're going to get deep dive into some cool charts. So we'll get into that in a minute.
You wanted to know what people can. You wanted me to explain what people can do with their.
Yeah. So you went just about your live streaming, actually. Before we get into the nitty gritty on the slides, you on your live stream, you actually get into covering strategies that people can do depending on their goals, and I think that's a really cool thing. And that's sort of like what you obviously sort of evolved into that or moved into that sort of direction. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, with PTGC, basically 3 things you can do with it. You can hold it.
Yeah.
And you're going to earn reflections. And you're going to do, my opinion. I mean, there's not a whole lot of other assets you get to hold and actually make more of them. And check this out. So PTGC, the circulating supply is always decreasing. So if you have a fixed principal amount of PTGC, and this applies to UFO also, and you continue to hodl that, as the circulating supply deflates, your supply not only inflates in relation to the now existing circulating supply, the decreasing circulating supply, but as you accumulate, you will inflate even faster. So what you can technically do is you could swap out all of your rewards from just holding PTGC, and then you will continue to inflate relative to the circulating supply. So that's holding. So you can hold, and then you can do whatever you want with those rewards called reflections. Then you can stake it. If you stake it, there's no commitment. There's no time commitment. You can stake however much you want from the DApp, 1 stake per wallet. You can scrape your rewards at any time. And you can do whatever you want with them. You can add them to a stake. You can do what we're going to describe next after staking with them, or you can take them home. If you do decide to end your stake, it's a 1% fee on your principal. And from my own records, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it was about 100 days. It could have been 80 days. It could be 120 days, something like that. I have it written down. I just It's all it's new
that
information. But
Yep.
to ROI on your 1% is about maybe 90 days, 110 days, something like that. But that depends on price. If we have a big run up on price, that's going to greatly reduce. Or if we have increased volume, that's going to increase that or shorten that time.
Okay.
So that's number 2 that you can do with PTGC. Number 3 is you can lock it. That's a bigger commitment.
Yeah.
Staking, you're going to lose 1%, of your principal, but you get it back in about 90 days, which is cool. The locking, however, is a time commitment. And if you break your time commitment, just like in Hex, there's a penalty.
Yeah.
Penalty's steep. It's 30%, which goes to all the other lockers. So if you're a hodler and you can stomach locking for a year or 2, all the way out to, you can actually stake for a lock for 90 days, a year, 2, and out to 10 years. If you can do that, then you can stand to make some, locking rewards. And we have made locking rewards.
Yeah.
I'll say on that. So if you lock for 90 days, you keep 55% of your rewards. So the rewards that come to you, and they're kind of sporadic because we don't have an unlock every single day. Sometimes we have big ones. So those locking rewards come to your wallet, and then you can claim them. If you're in a 90-day lock, for example, when you claim, you keep 55%. 45% goes to the dead address, reducing the supply, inflating everybody's position in the ecosystem. If you lock for a year, you keep 60%. All the way out to 9 to 10 years. 10 years is the maximum. 9 to 10 years, you keep 100% of all locking penalty rewards. And there's an interesting. Okay, I'm going to tell you the other piece of. Actually, this is a superpower. This is not alien tech.
Yep.
No, did you need to say something?
Yeah, just so all that time that you're locked, you're getting all these reflections, right?
Yes. Yep. You are getting. So in order to lock, you have to stake. And if you're staked, you're going to earn your reflections. So if you're locked, you're going to earn your staking rewards and your reflections. So it's
nice. All right. I just want to make that clear because that's how good it is. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So there's a key difference between holding, reflections and staking rewards and the locking rewards.
Locking. Yep.
And that is, let me get my thoughts here. The contract, whenever the contract executes on a buy, sell, or transfer, and by the way, the AMM bots, whenever they're balancing pairs, they're paying the 5% fee. And we estimate somewhere between 50 to 80% of all of our volume is AMM bots.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have no users and we're still going to make reflections and staking rewards.
Yeah.
So reflections and staking rewards are based on the price of the tokens today. So when somebody buys, sells, transfers, the whatever the value of the tokens is, that's what you're going to get into your wallet for reflections and staking. But the locking rewards are very different. The contract does not care what the value of the tokens are. It's going to distribute a number of tokens, a quantity of tokens to all the other lockers. Then the price right now of the tokens is right. It's like 0.0003. Okay. Now the tokens could be worth 50 cents each. The contract does not care. It's going to distribute tokens to all the other lockers. And that's why Prairie Banana went heavy into locking, because I anticipate as we go up cycle, people are going to be, I was even talking to myself about it today. I was trying to talk myself out of it today. I'm like, what if this thing goes to,
Yeah.
I was thinking about unlocking. So as we go up cycle, we suspect that people will be unlocking, and then those rewards will be distributed to all the other lockers at an inflated price. And we actually have historical records of how much was unlocked in any given 30-day period last year, and it was 400 million. So if you know your position in the locking pool and you want to project on a price, you can actually estimate how much would come to you in a 30-day period if we had that
amount.
amount.
That's brilliant. So I love the way you roll it out, because this gives people a very clear direction of whether they can hold, stake, and if they lock, what periods they lock, and the penalties and rewards that they may get. So I think there was a great sum up there. we got a question also. We're moving into the DAO. Now, did you want to talk about the DAO on your slides? How do you want to do that?
I don't have a slide about the DAO. We can,
no? All right. Let's do a quick overview on that. Maybe we could go to the website.
Okay.
And
then we got to talk about UFO, because we didn't talk about how those rewards
Sure.
work.
We'll come back to that in a second. We'll just we've got the DAO here, I think, on it's your presentation, so we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's go back to our original screen. And let me just highlight that. All right, cool. Yeah, let's talk about the UFO first before we get on to the DAO.
Sure. So there are two ways that you can earn with UFO, and that is by holding, or by LPing with an RH ticker, which I already lined them all out. So, and you got to do that from the DApp if you want the 3%.
Yeah.
So those are the two ways that you can earn with UFO. But UFO has its own little superpower. So locking is the superpower for PTGC. The superpower for UFO is the UFO share rate. And I've got a slide for that. And this slide will illustrate how valuable the share rate could become. I actually had a conversation with Kong this afternoon, and he's going to try to build something into PTGC.com to like more mathematically demonstrate it. But I'll show you the slide about the share rates. But share rates, do you know what share rates are? Do you know what they're based on?
Like Hex says, there's different types of formulas for share rates, but yeah, they just they get the intensity goes up over time.
Yes, maybe. With UFO, probably. But a share in UFO is one UFO. So in an LP. Okay. So if you put one UFO into an LP, that gives you one share. And that one share represents your stake. Let me say that better. It represents the amount of yield that will come to you from the 3%. And it never changes. Because what we found is that UFO has been moving up against all these other assets. So anybody in an LP like myself has lost a lot of UFO, but I haven't lost any UFO shares, because UFO share rates were guaranteed to me by the amount of UFO that I put into the LP. And as long as I do not break that LP, like let's say I have a billion UFO in an LP.
Yeah, I like the idea. Yep.
And I go to PulseX right now, and it's actually 300 million. Right? If I unpaired that LP, then I got 300 million UFO. What if I wanted those shares back?
Yeah.
Well, I got to come up with 700 million UFO. So
that's a nice little. I like that idea, locking in and keeping the LP in there.
This genius.
Yeah, it's genius move. Yeah.
So that's the two ways that you can earn.
I think that's the only is that the only project that has that tech in it, basically, because I'm not aware of others.
Yes, that's completely new as far as we know.
Yeah, typically they keep you in the LP just by rewards, right? Incentivizing, but in fact you got the share rate there, and you got a penalty basically if you exit your position.
Yeah, I mean, people are
have to buy back. If you want to get that position back, you have to pay way more, right? Because of the share rate's gone against you.
So everybody that has an UFO shares right now is highly incentivized to stay in. I mean, I may never unpair my UFO LPs, and I have buddies that are like, it might be too reckless. Those things might become highly valuable, much like being locked. Having locked PTGC might become highly, rewarding in due time. So
oh, that's pretty exciting. All right. Now the next thing, of course, should we quickly talk about the DAO before we move on, or we have a question up here?
We can touch on it.
Yeah, let's just touch on it briefly. This is a high level before we get into your awesome presentation. I'm looking forward to. What about the DAO? There we go.
What about the DAO? Okay. The DAO is comprised of all the stakers. That's it in a nutshell. It is locked down tight. Okay. It's all run by, I wish I knew the terminology, but it's run by a smart contract, Okay. So that everybody that is a staker can vote on proposals, and your voting weight is determined by how much you have staked. Okay. The top 100 stakers can submit proposals. So if you're top 100 staker, you can submit, and you got to guess that the top 100 stakers are highly incentivized to incentivized or interested in the health of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they have the privilege of submitting proposals. And whenever a proposal is, and it has to pass with 65%, whenever it passes, the money that was in the proposal, how do you say it? There's money in the treasury in the DAO, sitting in the DAO waiting for a proposal to be passed. When it passes, that money in Pulse, it's in Pulse. It goes to the person that wins the proposal to execute it, and they execute it.
Okay.
And there hasn't been any misbehavior. I know, because people are going to be wondering, oh, when people take advantage of it. Well, number one, good luck getting into the top 100. If you want to see the top 100, connect your wallet to pulsetgc.com, select DAO, and then click on Make Proposal and scroll down. The top 100's got like 300 million PTGC, and a million PTGC right now is about $275. So
yeah. Okay, cool. I like it. All right, so become part of the DAO, guys, out there. If you're out there, definitely an option for you to consider.
We've had some people come in recent months, and they're like, I am going to be in that top 100, and they fought and clawed and got their way up in there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. That's all part of creating, a win-win value type of protocol. I love the culture. MVS says we love PTGC, so big shout out there, MVS.
Appreciate that.
And who else is we got? Do we have a quick question here before we move on into sort of the more detail? We got, why is it a paid site? Talking about that secondary site.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's be clear. Pulse TGC is not a paid site. No.
What's the secondary site that you said? I think it was the second one.
Metrics site.
Yeah, the metrics.
All the numbers is, that's look into ptgc.com. And the tabs on the ends are free. The ones in the middle are behind a paywall, but it's it's like $17 a month. So
yeah, cool. Not much. Hopefully that answers that for you, Brennan, out there. He's our TA guru. All right, shall we get into your presentation? If you're ready, we'll jump over to the other screen.
Yeah.
Bam, there we go. Kick us through this if you like.
Yeah. How was I supposed to make it large again?
Just at the top right of your presentation, I think it was.
Yeah, I don't even see it. I don't even see it. So
yeah. You've added, you got the notes on the side there, I see. Not sure how maybe you can go up to the ellipsis up there, the top three dots. Yeah, maybe try it again. That's the other way of doing it. Resetting.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, says Brennan. You're most welcome. While you're doing that, I'll just get back into the other screen. Oh, look, there's Infinite Us. Oh, all right, cool. All right, so that is the website, just so everyone can know. And once you're ready, Prairie will pull back your screen up.
Okay. I think whenever we get this screen pulled back up, let's just go with it, okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, we'll just use this one.
All right, very good.
And you can't see it.
Bam.
There we go. Okay. All right, cool. And can you see my cursor? Because I got to be able to advance,
Can I see your cursor? Let me just get rid of the comment there we got with Brennan, and we'll check that out. So, no, I can't see your cursor per se.
Okay. Bear with me.
We'll get there.
We had this all set up, didn't we?
We did.
Okay. Hold up. Maybe this is it. No. I mean, I've got it pulled up over here. Where is this? I've got to find that. Because obviously I'm sharing my screen with your computer. I just can't find that
button again. Yeah.
I cannot find that screen.
Maybe you can exit out and just pop it back up on that same toggle that we did.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me get it together here.
let me just, we'll go back to the website. So this is the website. It's PUSTGC, pulsetgc.com, and you can check out the website. And of course, we just did an overview about that with staking and the tokenomics and the DAO. So you can all see that there with the staking, the DAO, the UFO tokens over here as well. So definitely check that out. You can connect your wallet. So for those that are just coming into the chat, who else has jumped in here? Brennan says, one moment caller. Indeed. We've got a caller from Nebraska calling in.
Yay.
Hey.
All right. See if you can share my screen now. I think I got it.
Let's go back.
And if I don't, my face.
There we go. Yay.
All right. So this is a representation of the network. Okay. I just put some of the top tokens in here. And this is before all the PDI kerfuffle and all that. Yeah. But you can see it even has our old logos in here. But, we are a liquidity web with the top tickers on Pulse Chain. New people can literally start with PTGC and UFO and hold a little bit of the best. Mm-hmm. And UFO and PTGC, their thickest liquidity is with each other.
Yeah.
So as PTGC goes up, it's going to pull UFO and vice versa. Now, because of the way we're set up here, Superman, we are going to. We're going to skip a couple slides. All right. We're going to skip through them, but I'll stop on the good ones. Okay. Be a little, hopefully we don't make your audience dizzy, but we'll just go for it. So this is one of my favorite slides. It does end at the end of January. Mm-hmm. And one of my buddies made this for me, and it highlights PTGC and UFO and their movement in response to the 4 core tickers, PEX, PulseX, Pulse, and Inc., which you see at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay? And notice that orange line is HEX, and any little upward movement on HEX caused an exaggerated movement on PTGC and UFO.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah.
It's that's a very exciting slide. And let's not forget to go to the charts the deck screen or when we're done with this.
Yeah. Sure. We got that set. Yep.
Okay. So there we go again. And here's we are working on this slide. This just came in today, but this represents the liquidity web and the little robot in there. Remember I said the AMM bots are working 24/7, arbitraging across all of those pairs between PTGC and UFO, paying holders and stakers all along the way.
Yeah, that's part of the magic sauce, everybody. Part of the magic sauce is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is how the fees are broken down.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wants a screenshot, I'm sorry, that's not how they're broken down. But PTGC is at 5%. All of its LP is burnt. It's 20 months old. 12.5% of the tokens have been burned out of existence.
Wow. Right.
Yep. Only has 14,000 wallets. Can I say that only? Because I think we're going to have a lot more after this.
Yeah, I remember when it hit 14,000, I covered that as a news story. Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah.
24 wallets hold $1,000 or more. UFO, 6% fee, community fee. The LP is all community provided, 13 months old, 8% of the circulating supply is burned, has only 6,000 wallets. It came out about 5 months after PTGC.
Yeah.
And only 750 wallets hold $1,000 or more.
Fantastic.
Okay, and this is a slide illustrating what I told you about the fee distribution for PTGC, with 3% going in and only 2% can come out. And you mentioned about the DAO. Somebody asked about the DAO. What separates PTGC from other community reward tokens? It's the DAO. Because we're like a ship on the sea. We can go wherever we want. We're not like a train on the track and just go forward and back. So what does that mean? Well, when Pump.Tires comes out and Richard Hart launches Most Token, we jump right on it.
Yeah.
And we make an LP. And we got all of everybody's money back within 3 days.
Fantastic.
With a DAO, we can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we actually have a pretty big fat savings account in the DAO. We call it the Treasury.
Yeah.
And we're either burning tokens with it or waiting for new opportunities.
Fantastic. And I love this comparison with the ship.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is one of this right here, this slide is one of those, have you ever heard of that's possible, but not probable?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This is a possibility, not probable. not a probability.
My grandfather taught me that concept, by the way.
It's a good way to look at things, right? To give you some discernment. If we had $10 million in volume on PTGC and UFO every day, on average at least, for 365 days, 1 year, we could burn $128 million worth of PTGC tokens. How do you do that? Well, 2% with 2% of that 5% fee going to the Dow, that's $200,000 a day at $10 million in volume. 0.5% burning tokens, that's $50,000 a day. UFO is burning 1%, that's $100,000 a day. That's $128 million worth of tokens. And I'd put it in a deck screener on Sunday. You know, our circulating supply is about 292 million tokens.
Yep.
$128 million would buy something like 450 million tokens.
Yeah, I like it.
Just to give you some idea. So that's one of those, it's possible to like put a ton of buy pressure on PTGC. It's just, we're probably not going to do that. But what are we going to do with that with that economic energy? It's going to be distributed throughout the ecosystem. It's going to stay in the ecosystem. It's just not all going to buy tokens and burn them. Do you see that? Okay.
Very nice.
Next slide. Here's your time lock tier system.
Now, let's take a moment on this because I think this is really important, this one.
Okay.
Yeah, for those that are really going to go, really go long with PTC.
Yeah, and there's several ways that you can do this. I will tell you how I did it. I'm not going to get super specific, but I broke my locking up into 3 different categories.
Yeah.
I made some 90-day locks. Okay, let me back up. I look at PTGC and UFO as the golden goose of crypto. Yeah. They lay me golden eggs every single day. If I were to kill the golden goose, I could have a fabulous meal, but no more eggs.
Yeah.
So my intention is to hang on to the golden goose. Maybe with those 90-day locks, take some feathers off the goose and make me a nice fluffy goose down pillow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's peacock, but I don't know. What does a goose? Who can do a goose? So 90-day locks for me is like, okay, I got some stuff in life to take care of.
Yes.
Okay. And then my other bag, my other category is 10-year locks. I went really heavy in 10-year locks.
Okay.
And I sent a bunch out 10 years. And I am looking forward to seeing the locking rewards. As long as price goes up and people unlock, I think I'll be very content with that.
Yes.
So that's my 10-year locks. And then I've got ladder, just like I did with Hex, for all the way from 1 to 9 years. Pro tip, if you lock one day into the next higher tier, you will collect from that tier. So I have 90-day locks, a locking ladder, and 10-year locks. I'm all the way through. And that's other people can do the same thing. There's a good model for you, or something that gives you something to think about, because
you've got all your eggs and you've got good meals coming up on a regular basis.
Yes, I hope I like goose eggs.
Yeah. We just had one comment just before we move on from Trev here around the share concept, just saying it was genius. Helps offset impairment loss, he says. Never sells, and why would you? You're earning income. So there we go.
Yes, sir. Right. Exactly, Trev. Yep. Okay. Any other questions on the time lock tier system?
No, I think that was it at the moment. Yeah, if you've got any question, guys, put them in, because we'll definitely try and get Prairie Banana to answer some of those.
Okay. All right. Now we already touched on this, but and we were just talking with Trev about the share rate and the genius of it. Yeah. Okay. So I have an experimental wallet that has 1 million UFO in it that I'm holding, and 1 million UFO that I have paired with Pulse. So can you answer this question? How many UFO shares does it have?
1 million, is it?
Yes, because I put 1 million into the LP. 1 million UFO.
Yeah.
So it has 1 million UFO shares. Of course, you can see it right there, but that's okay. So if I did this experiment about 3 weeks ago, I literally went to PulseX, connected my wallet to PulseX, and I pulled up this pair. There were 300,000 UFO in there. Sad. That makes me very sad. Not so sad I'm going to unpair and bail and go into some other asset.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I put 1 million UFO in there. Now there's only 300,000. And I've got 190,000 pulse on the other side. So they're each worth, they got to be worth the same, $7.40. Yeah. Here's the illustration. If I were to unpair, yes, it's sad that I only have 300,000 UFO in that pair, but I still have my UFO shares. They will not change unless I were to unpair. So if I unpaired and I took home the 300,000 UFO and the 190,000 pulse, and then I changed my mind, I'm like, hey, man, yeah, I sure like those pulse rewards from being in that LP pool. I want to get that 1 million UFO shares back. So I'd have to come up with 700,000 UFO, $17, $435,000 pulse, another $17, which is $34 on top of, it's additional money needed to regain the shares. $34. That's like I think it came out to be a 3-to-1, 3 times more that I'd have to come up with. If I unpaired and wanted those UFO shares back, I'd have to come up with 3 times more economic energy. So that's, as we go into this cycle, the people that hold the UFO shares are going to be very strongly encouraged to hold on to them. And what does that mean for the ecosystem? Strength, because you don't have people jockeying around and moving their assets around. We have some big holders in UFO that have LPs, and they're just those kind of guys that they're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, I think if they all stay the course, so then it creates quite a strength, and it's also the culture, right, that's built around it, of investors rather than meme coin hunters or pump and dumpers. It's a very different mindset. Having rather than having just speculators, you got investors. And if you create a culture of investors, that's going to be really important for Pulse Chain. I know a lot of people want a bigger percentage of the people on Pulse Chain or wherever they might be to actually be slowly shifting more into the investor mindset rather than the speculator mindset.
Even though we are trying to intercept the meme culture coming in we hope are coming over to Pulse Chain.
Yeah,
with these 1,000% memeable tokens. I mean, look at the alien on that slide. Yeah, that is a meme.
Well, I just thought he was it integrated into human society. It was doing well.
He's a handsome meme too.
He's a handsome meme, with the suit. Okay, that's very cool. Try and hold on to your shares if you can. And some people do. They get tempted and then they realize their mistake afterwards. So that's why.
Yeah, it can be a little dicey out there.
Yeah.
So this next, this slide here illustrates perhaps where we are going. And let me articulate it. Between August of last year and April of this year, Pulse Chain's volume 3x'd. 3. Okay. While its price went down about 38%.
Yeah.
PTGC's volume 8x'd.
Wow.
And its price increased by 533%. So what does that mean for when Pulse makes its run? We can only guess. The whole time that PTGC has been in existence and UFO, Pulse Chain has been going sideways the whole time. Yet PTGC is up 14x over this time last year. And UFO, I'm not sure how many X's it's done since last year, but a number of X's. Check this out. I never want to leave out this little nugget. Like last August 26th, PTGC reached 1-to-1 ratio with Pulse Chain.
Yep.
We worked our way all the way up 1-to-1.
I remember I covered it. It was exciting.
Yeah, it was. Today, I think it must be about 9-to-1.
Yeah.
So if a person had flipped Pulse into PTGC on August 26th, they would effectively be able to buy 9 times more pulse right now if they flipped back into pulse if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's heavy, dude.
It is. It's ginormous. Yeah.
Yeah. And the same could be said for, not on that date, but the same could be said for almost every token that we're paired with, especially the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, you would have pretty much gone from about 110 million polls to a billion polls. Something like that. So that's
I mean, if you wanted to flip back, I of course I always suggest leaving a moon bag.
Yeah.
Sure, flip back into pulse. Just leave you a moon bag at PTGC. All right, let's see what else we have. Okay, this is This is probably just going to give all your guys deer in the headlights. I mean, are you a numbers guy?
I think we're pacing. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm a numbers guy. I think so.
Okay. Let's give it a try.
You tell the story, and we'll follow along.
All right, look over here on the left. That's cool. You can see my cursor. I need to do something like that. July last year, PTGC had about $27,000 in volume per day.
Yep.
In March, it was $425,000 in volume per day. That is a 15.7x in volume. The price in July increased, and I don't have the price on here, but the price also increased by 12.6x from July to March.
Yep.
Rewards for each 1 million tokens held were 45 per day. 45 tokens per day in July and 46 per day in March. And this actually is leading up into something that we should probably explain. And I haven't been hiding anything, just so you know. We should explain this. And that is, and you probably know this, Superman, but as the price goes up, the contract cannot buy as many tokens with the 5%. I'm kind of simplifying it.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the same value, that 1% that goes to holders, you're going to get the same value in tokens, but as price goes up, you will receive fewer tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So what we saw from July to March was, let's call it a 10x in volume or 15x in volume, and then a 12x in price. So the token rewards were basically identical, 45 and 46.
Yeah.
But that's because, if the price had stayed level, you would have seen those token rewards drop by a 9/10.
Yeah.
But instead they went up. And it's very exciting because what we're seeing there is that as volume increases, the price has been increasing. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually very exciting.
Yeah, you've got the average staking yield in there as well. You've got the hodling yield and the locking yield. So you've got the 3 different types of things you can do in terms of options that you can do with the PTGC.
Yep.
And as you can see, actually, staking in particular looks pretty juicy. You got some thoughts about that with those numbers?
Yep, the stakers
70 March 70 on March. I mean, look at that. Yeah,
stakers are earning more because not everybody stakes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just how it
works. Yeah,
I think stakers are earning like 61% more than holders, and lockers are earning on top of that.
And that's additional, right? So that's the key.
Yep. So like in March, if you're holding and staked, you would have earned 116 PTGC per day on average. Total.
So column 2 and column 3 you add those together for your reward if you are staking and locking.
Yes.
If you're not staking or locking, then the first column is what your rewards would be.
Yes. Yeah. Very good point. Very good point.
Cool. Impressive, right? Impressive. And that's why, I consider, PTGC one of the blue chips on the chain, if you want to call it that. So
yeah, absolutely. I do.
it's fantastic. Yeah.
You literally check this out, Superman. I figured this out the other day. We actually are 1% of all the volume on the chain.
Wow.
Just the PTGC and UFO are 1% of all the volume. That means we are a whale in volume.
Look, I mean, I can see that going up, right? Yeah.
Well, we look at the Grace currencies as a machine, like a fine-tuned machine, Like think of a Lamborghini, a fine machine, boy. Only this Lamborghini, in light of everything that's going on in Pulse Chain, like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. This fine Lamborghini machine is literally, figuratively sitting at the stoplight, just barely revving the engine now.
Yeah.
Boy, when it revs the engine and that light turns green, good smoke them tires, boy. I mean, it could be up to 200 miles an hour, and like what do they do it in like 8 seconds or something? I don't know.
Maybe even faster than that. 6, 5, 6, maybe 3. That's really probably 3 seconds, isn't it? 3 seconds, if I remember. I'm just trying to flash back to watching car videos, but I think it's possibly 3 seconds or something. In those high ends. Or we could ask Rack and Michelle because he likes his Lamborghinis.
Yeah. Okay. He's been hanging out in our spaces too, by the way.
So that's a really good metric, though, that global metric, 1%. But I could actually see it getting much bigger in terms of percentage of volume.
We're going to start tracking it.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, check with me in 3 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'll have more data on that for you.
Absolutely.
All right, UFO. This is the UFO slide, very similar. July, $36,000 in volume. March, $370,000. That's a 10x. The price also did a 7.5x. So you see the rewards. In July, we're 196 UFO for holding, and then 141, a little bit less in March. But that's because, see, the price didn't do a 10x. It did a 7.5x relative to the volume. And then the LP yield, okay, which is a totally different animal. 26, and this is in pulse, 26 pulse per 1 million in July, and 344 in March.
Wow. Yeah.
For a 10x in volume. So yeah, that's some really juicy. I can't tell you why I went from 26 to 344 on a 10x in volume. I think I just don't know. That's a question for Spaces tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point, though.
What else? It is, man.
That's the limit. Look, it's got Prairie Banana
shell in his Lamborghini.
I honestly thought it was going to be yellow, but red's my favorite color. So
it should be gold or green.
Or gold, or green, or black and white green, but gold, gold's nice too. That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, that's my last slide.
That's your last slide. Fantastic. Yes, all right. Well, let's jump over to the chart quickly. We've got a couple of questions though. We'll probably answer that, and then we'll have a look at the charts. We'll leave the red Lamborghini on. Let's leave the red Lamborghini on for a moment. And sponsored by Lamborghini, PTGC, and UFO. We got hey Banana, could you give an example for a dolphin position and payout on 400K a day on today's price? Can you?
Whoa, I can do that. Honestly, I can do that.
Bit of a breakdown, right? So maybe that's something for your show, and maybe they can you decide.
If you talk, I can figure it out.
If you're talking about me, all right, yeah, all right. So, yeah. We'll have a look at the next question as well. We got. I thought the APR on holding UFO was more at one stage than doing LP. Maybe.
Is that a question?
That's a question. Yeah, is that correct?
Run that by me again.
I thought the APR, the annual percentage return on holding UFO, was more at one stage than doing LP was.
That's correct.
That's correct. I think we saw that on the chart, didn't we?
About 5 times more.
Yeah.
Which conflicts with the slide that we just looked at.
Right.
Okay, so that provokes me to ask that question on Spaces tomorrow.
Okay, cool. All right.
Well, it's probably just down to like a token value or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it is. Because you're talking about, how much is a Pulse token versus a UFO token. I'm sure that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So, and if Gray is still in here, that's a tip we got to talk about on tomorrow's Spaces.
All right, cool. Well, there we go. We've got some contributing to tomorrow's Spaces. There we go.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. Yeah. Did you want to handle this now or I was talking? Yeah.
What did the gentleman want to know?
Hey, Banana, could you give me an example for a dolphin position and payout on 400,000 a day on today's price?
Okay. That is now a dolphin position is 29 million tokens.
Yeah.
which is about $9,000 right now.
Okay.
And let me get the volume here. PTDC volume yesterday was $65,000.
Mhm.
So 400,000 divided by 65,000, that's a 6x. And he wants to know how many tokens he would earn.
Could you give an example of a dolphin position and payout on 400,000 a day? So the payout reward's 400,000 at today's prices.
Yep. Okay, just a second. I just got to scroll over. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but
No, it's
okay, the holding yield would be 6.15 times 3631. 22,344 tokens for holding. And then your staking rewards would be, I mean, if it was staked, 61% above that. And there really wasn't any unlocks yesterday. So 22,344 tokens for holding a dolphin position at $400,000 in volume.
Cool. All right. There is the answer. Thanks for that, Volatile. Now, let's check out the chart, shall we?
Yeah.
On PTC. So let's jump away to that. Let me just get to the right screen here.
Now we have to say goodbye to the Lambo.
Yeah, we'll pull up the screen. This is the Lambo in chart form. In chart form.
Right.
So this is where we're at the moment. So I actually got it on weekly chart. Let me let me go back to. We're going to come back to that, but let me. I don't know what's going on here, but let me go full screen on this. Bam! All right. So that is kind of where we are at the moment. Let me hide my own lines on there, but that is the weekly chart for PTC, the Pulse versus Pulse. That is weekly chart. So what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's in USD, just for clarification.
Yes.
That's great for right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's up and to the right, but we've been struggling for a few months. But hasn't ever.
Everyone was talking about it during this period, right? So 217 days, and 8,158%.
That was a beautiful run up.
Going. Yeah, it was pretty impressive. And of course, it was going to have a retrace at some stage. Of course, we had a lot of stuff on Pulse Chain at this time as well.
Yeah, we had SEC stuff, and then we were beyond that mostly for now.
We had 162% recovery. We're currently up 64% of the local bottom. Just getting ready, I think, for the next sort of drive forward.
And a lot of the performance of PTGC and UFO is going to depend on Pulse Chain. But we have been moving up against Pulse Chain ever since we launched.
Well, let's flip it from US dollars to Pulse and check that out on the weekly time frame as well. This line here is what I had up for 1 cent when it passed, and it was pretty exciting back here.
Yeah, 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
That was
that was 1-to-1,
and we've been as high as like 21-to-1.
22.68 it says here.
Okay, I love it. Yeah. That's even better.
And that was the week of the 17th of February this year.
Not too long ago.
This chart, you can almost see the future on this chart. It's pretty, like you say, it could be pretty incredible. Just the way that this chart's looking and the part of the cycle that we're at the moment. Okay. Once Pulse Chain moves, man, yeah.
Okay, so let's put a highlighter on that because, the life of this whole chart from the left there all the way over to the right, Pulse Chain has done what? Nothing. Yeah. I mean, effectively. Now, between
a lot of Black Swan events and et cetera, yeah.
And I'm not picking on Pulse Chain. I love Richard Hart. I love Pulse Chain. I love all the assets on there, especially his course. But now we did have a big run up between last January and March. Pulse Chain ran up 4x. Yeah. PTDC ran up 42x. Let me get that backwards. Okay, 42x. Pulse Chain ran up 4x. PTDC ran up 42x.
Yeah.
When it goes, Pulse Chain went all the way down to 4025. When it goes to 3001 sacrifice price, I will be taking a reading. because that'll be a 3x, and we'll see what PTGC has done.
Yeah.
I like it. It's anybody's guess, but it does have a history, a pretty strong history of moving up, as you can see in the chart.
Yeah. We can see the volumes down here as well. I mean, you're peaked out on that volume there, 4.5 million. So it was pretty impressive. And like you say, even at the moment, you're around about 1% at these volumes. It's just one pair, by the way. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. So yeah, I think this holding very nicely in here. I'm looking for some pretty amazing things moving forward. Do you do any prediction or projection charts? Do you do any of those?
No, I don't. Up.
Just up, yeah. That's probably good guidance.
Okay, it looks like you do a little TA, judging by your drawings.
Yes, yeah. That was like a drawing I did when I was talking about PTGC.
Yeah.
And,
okay, now we can talk about one key thing that I've learned since I got into this ecosystem, the X multiplier. I don't know. Do you think your audience want to hear about that?
Yeah, go for gold.
Okay, so the X multiplier is how much can PTGC move up against Pulse Chain?
Mm-hmm.
In the last year, it has moved up against Pulse Chain about a 14x. Okay, and then the multiplier is if PTGC moves up against Pulse Chain 14x, and Pulse Chain, for example, moves up 10x.
Yep.
That's a 10 times 14, which is 140.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can do a little guesswork to see where this token might go, and let's do a modest 7x, guessing that if Pulse Chain runs up, whatever, if you want to pick a number, if Pulse Chain runs up X amount, PTGC moves up 7x, multiply those two, multiply that times today's price, and you get your hypothetical future number price based on math, just math.
Yeah.
So do you want to pick a number for what you think Pulse Chain?
So let's say that Pulse does a 3x and
3x.
We do a 7x. I think that's quite reasonable.
Do you think Richard Hart? You think Richard Hart has to hide from Interpol now? Do you think he wants to hide from everybody that sacrificed money for Pulse Chain?
No. Mine was you wanted a conservative one, but
okay. I'm just razzing you, man.
I thought you wanted a conservative one there. I didn't realize you wanted to do magic carpet ride stuff.
Okay, we could do your 3x.
Do 3x. That'd be 21x.
7 is 21.
Yeah.
Okay, that puts us under a penny.
Yeah.
Dude, we're going beyond a penny.
Yeah.
That's not financial advice. That's just my opinion. But I mean, we're like, I think we're 30, 34x from a penny right now. We have been as high as 10x to a penny. We have been as high as 10x to a penny this cycle, with Pulse Chain not even going up to sacrifice price.
Yeah.
So I'll stop. Sorry.
No. I mean, math's fun, and I love it. But let's just say Pulse does a 30x from here.
Okay, that's 30 times 7, which is 210. Now you're getting closer.
Yeah.
So
well, you want to? We're doing math now.
Dude, we really do not know what's going to happen. Okay, yeah. I'll just say that out loud. This is crypto, but 210 times the price, which is let's just put point. We must be about 210 times 0.3028. Am I close? That's 6 cents, 5.88 cents. That's better.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
There are people in our ecosystem that I think are highly intelligent, like leaders in the ecosystem, that think we're going to be waving goodbye at 10 cents on our way to $1.
Sure. I definitely see that as being plausible. The one thing I was going to say was that my point with these numbers is being the fact that if people are after that 100x, people come in and go, oh, can I get 100x? Can I get a 1000x? Which is, pretty challenging. Then PTGC the Greys is probably one of the ones, now not financial advice, but it's probably one of the ones that you're probably wanting to steer ahead with that, X multiplier numbers. So,
sure.
Definitely well worth considering. because numbers can get pretty crazy, and especially with the DAO setup, the stickiness is there in the LP as well. The shares, it adds all that support to that narrative.
Definitely.
Brennan says he's our TA guru. Says high lows looks good. Says Brennan. Volatile says banana. If could only pick one, which one would you pick? A PTC or a UFO? Oh,
that's a tough one. Okay, I will tell you that you can buy about 5 times more of the supply of UFO than PTDC.
Yeah.
So you can get a dolphin position in UFO 5 times cheaper than you can in PTDC.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could help you if you wanted to do a little bit of each, like a 70-30 or 80-20 or something. But PTDC has been referred to as the mothership, but UFO hasn't seen a run up like PTDC did not this last January, but the previous January through March, when Pulse ran up 4x and PTDC ran up 42x. UFO came out in May, so it hasn't seen a run up, and we don't know what it can do, but we're suspicious.
Yeah. All right. So I think something's about to happen.
Whoa.
Oh my God. We can multiply a game a lot, but there must be some sort of target area that you're thinking with the X on X's. What would that be for the magic carpet ride?
For the X multiplier?
For the X multiplier, where do you think or you could just give the cents amount that you think that, or the cents range, nice range, not typically good for where you think PTC might go in the future, not financial advice, of course.
Yeah, definitely not financial advice. And I know you're not going to get numbers out of other people. I'm a bit of a moon boy. I get a little excited.
Sure.
So, I mean, Richard Hart, I love the guy. He's egotistical. Okay.
Yeah.
And you really want to be tied to the hip to somebody that has an ego. And we're tied to his hip.
Yeah.
Okay. For good reason. I don't believe that he would be satisfied with 100x. I think he would be like walking away like a dog with the tail between his legs if he had just 100x. But it could be 100x. It could be 100x. But from where? From the bottom? Okay. Well, that would be 4025. That was the bottom just a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So measured from the bottom, that would be would that be a 70x from here? Let's call that a 70x because I think 100x.
Yeah.
So let's call that a 70x. I'm not figuring it out, but 70x. And if PTDC just does a 5x, let's do that way. That's 350x.
Yeah.
350.
Oh, the viewership just went up. People are liking your numbers. Keep talking.
350 times 0.00028 equals, let's call it 10 cents.
Yeah.
So we just went from 6 cents to 10 cents. So, maybe somewhere in there.
Okay.
What if Pulse Chain does even better? What if PTDC does? What if PTDC only does a 3x against Pulse, but Pulse Chain does a 500x?
Yes.
That's 1500.
1500. Yeah. That's we're getting into the party time there. Now that is pretty magical. We'll give that another magic. That's been another magic. So, hey, look, I definitely think that PTC is one of the blue chips and can do some big X multipliers for sure. So yeah, do due diligence, everybody out there. Not financial advice. I'm sure Prairie Banana agrees. But it's the maths. We know we're just down at the bottom at the moment, so it feels like there's only one way is up, and we could see some pretty magical numbers once we get into the parabolics, which we're waiting to get into. So yeah, game on. All right, let's jump away from that and move into UFO. I think. Let's jump over to the UFO chart. There's a UFO chart. Let's go full screen on that too. And this is the weekly chart also. So what are your thoughts about this at the moment? I'll just do a little bit of structure, I guess.
Sure.
We had this nice little rally here at 5 zeros, 9100. We pretty much got up to 3 zeros, 1100 almost. And we're currently, we sort of local bottom down here at 4 zeros, 1275. We're currently at 4 zeros, 1940 after recently being at about 4 zeros, 2800. So what's your thoughts about this chart?
It's not as Can you put it on WPLS?
Yeah, sure.
WPLS.
Over there. Yeah.
I mean, it is up and to the right.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just a longer chart, and it actually looks better when it's in WPLS.
It does.
Maybe that's why I asked you to move it to WPLS.
And this is what you want to do if you're out there. You always want to check to see how's it performing versus pulse, right? And I always use my own analogy is that pulse is like the ocean, and all these other projects are like ships on the ocean.
A UFO has about 17% last time I checked, 17% more LP than PTGC. I mean, these tokens have millions of dollars in LP, by the way. I think combined they're over 10 million, something like that. I think one of them I think PTGC has $6 million in LP. I could look, but your audience could go to secretobank.com and you can see the volume, you can see all the LPs. And UFO has about 17% more LP than PTGC, which is one of the reasons we're excited about seeing it run up against Pulse because it has a thicker liquidity. But it also has about 50% more LP with Richard Hart, Richard Hart 4-core tickers.
4 coins, yep.
Yeah. So there is that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it comes back. I mean, volatile pretty well. Which one would you pick? And I think probably having a bit of both of them would probably just be a good idea, right?
Yes. Yep. I mean, the rewards for holding UFO are they're bananas. Pun intended. Okay. If you go to look into PTGC, if you use the reflections calculator, which I use on my presentation twice a week, the reflections for holding UFO, like for a year if you hold UFO for a year and we have $5 million in volume every day or on average for that year, you're not going to see it on that site. It's look into PTGC.com.
Look into PTGC.com. Okay.
Yep. You would actually effectively earn 100%, just under 100% APY. So you'd earn, like if you had 1 million UFO, at the end of the year, you'd have 2 million UFO at that volume.
I can find that.
So just for holding PTGC, it's pretty nuts. I mean, UFO.
All right, we'll just post that site in the chat there so people can go and save that to their favorites. Yeah. There we go. Bam.
The dashboard of lookintoptgc.com is juicy. I mean, it's all kind of good stuff. You can see, like right there, you can see how much has been burned of PTGC. If you scroll down, we burned 41.5 billion tokens of PTGC. And if you scroll down further, this is actually really good.
That's good.
Okay, you see those metrics? You get your price, then over to the right, your volume, liquidity, and then your circulating supply. And there we are. Look, PTGC price targets were 35x from a penny on the lower left there. And 35x to a penny. And then there is in the middle there on that bottom row is the PTGC average daily volume.
Yeah.
So $73,000 in 77,000. I have a hard time reading.
$77,000 7 day. 125,000 30 day.
And then if you scroll down a little more, you're going to see the fee allocation. Okay, look at this. In the last 24 hours, the 5% community fee has been $3,362 has been collected of that stinking little 5% community fee. Why? Yeah. I mean, it's not all just users buying, selling, and transferring tokens. It's bot activity. That 1% of the Pulse network that PTGC and UFO comprise is in that $3,362. And then the last 7 days, and then if you go out to 180 days, $3.5 million has been distributed. And where does it go? We'll go down a little bit further, and you can see that. I'm glad you clicked on that because $352,000 burned. PTGC buys and burns it out of existence, can never be accessed again. $352,000 was added to the Pulse LP, PLP tokens burned out of existence. $1.4 million sent to the DAO to do whatever it wants to benevolently do to boost the ecosystem. And then $704,000 paid to holders and stakers.
Yeah, fantastic. I love the breakdown. Fantastic. Yeah. Also, and you got UFO down here as well.
Same thing. Same thing for UFO. Yep.
$1 for 51,500 next to $1. Woo!
Yeah.
You also got the Burnley here as well. Let's see. And there's the fee allocation. So $1,100 and $2.7 million in fees the last 280 days. And then you got the breakdown with the taxes as well. 3% is 1.4 million almost. 1% buy and burn UFO holder awards 461,000, and buy and burn PTGC 460,000, 61,000 there. So
and just
that's on top of that, right? So that's it gets close to $800,000 PTGC burn.
Yeah, you like that site?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Okay, you can if you guys want this site, you can use my coupon. It's PB15 for 15% off, and it's $17.28 a month.
So that's PB15.
PB, yeah, for Prairie Banana. PB15.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have access only to the dashboard on the left and the DAP on the right, but you have access to the moon math calculator, which we just did a lot of that just verbally. And then you've got locking calculator, which we talked about.
Yeah.
The staking and reflections, and then LP, and there's other stuff, man.
Sure.
And
you get all the premium services basically.
Yeah. And CryptoCon is going to be building in a share rate calculator into this site here very soon. We talked about it today.
Yeah.
It's going to be behind the paywall, I'm certain, because it's going to be highly valuable, because you'll be able to see what your, that little experiment that I talked about that I did with mine. You're going to be able to connect your wallet and see, or just put in your address probably, and see what yours would be. And then what we're hoping you can do is do a price projection where you can put in what, I have this LP with ink. Okay, what could ink go to? And you type that in, and you can see what your UFO shares would perhaps be worth.
Wow, I love it. Love it. Okay, that's epic. So there we go, guys. I grabbed that PB15 discount code, and that is the site there to get the premium access to premium services.
Some people, get a little burr under their saddle about paid for stuff.
Oh no, I'm not me. I think that it's a part of where Polestar needs to be heading.
It's cheap, but getting data like this off of the Pulse network is intense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And all CryptoCon really wants is to be able to pay, because it costs money to also.
I'm 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's a win-win outcome, right? And that's what I like. So, you provide some pretty incredible value. People can pay for it, and they value that a lot more too. So, no, very cool. One impressive site too. It's got a moon math calculator. So, I like that. So it's pretty cool. Some neat features there. We've got lock calculator, staking, reflections, UFO LP. You got get your premium. That's kind of what you're going to click on with that discount code, and you can check all that out. So not bad. All right, and that is that's the main official website, right? PulseTGC.com.
Yes, sir.
These are the PTGC charts and the UFO charts. That's what you need to buy it. In fact, I'll post the links to these in the chat there while I'm here. PTGC, if some people are looking for those. That is the PTGC one. And you can check that out. I think one of the blue chips on Pulse Chain. So, and I'm sure Prairie Banana thinks so too. And UFO. That's the UFO one there. You might have to separate it out from the words at the beginning, but there we go. Awesome stuff. Now, I guess that gets us up into any final words, Prairie. We're coming up to about an hour and 25. What are your final thoughts that you'd like to send out to the audience at the moment?
Sure. One, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I mean, like I said, I've been following you for a number of years, honestly, since I came into Hex.
Yeah, appreciate that.
If your audience, is interested in PTGC, and if you're not ready to pull the trigger yet, you can jump into I do a stream on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific on my channel, Prairie Banana, or I think it's the Prairie Banana. I should know. And I go from beginning to end, and you can ask any questions. I do a full-blown presentation. It's also on my channel. You can just go watch it. So that's Sunday. And then I do the same thing on Wednesday. Tomorrow morning, we're having a Spaces call at 7 a.m. Pacific. The founder will be on, and other people from the Grays Currencies. If you're curious, come on to the Spaces and ask your questions or just listen, whatever. We have literally have six opportunities throughout the week for people to interact with the founder, myself, and other people. And the other two are in our Telegram. And I can't really post a link to the Telegram.
I'll post it now.
Okay, thank you. And you can just come into the Telegram, ask any questions, and then the founder does 2 voice chats a week. And he'll be on there with a handful of people just chatting. And I mean, imagine if you could have and this is where I think this thing is going. Imagine if you could jump in and have voice chat with Richard Hart.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, and you can't anymore. Take advantage of it, guys. Take advantage of it.
All right, so that is the X count for PTC, and we're going to pull up the Telegram as well. You can obviously get it on the price chart, so you can always find it there as well. And join up the Telegram today.
And follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to I appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. Yeah. And guys, if you're not subscribed to Kryptonite and following him on Twitter also, please do that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't watch the videos, guys, still subscribe. Really, it helps the algorithm. But of course, better watch the videos.
So that's the Grays Telegram. Join up today, and this is Prairie Banana, who has kindly come onto the show, and I'm a big fan. So it's great to have you on the house in the show today. Hopefully we'll get you back on in a couple of months, and we'll see how the X multiplier is going. Both Pulse Chain and for PTC, the Grays, and UFO, which will be fun to see.
Yeah.
All right, final words. Farewell, as I guess we say.
Yeah, farewell, man. It's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it.
And what an awesome breakdown. I really do appreciate it. PTC and the UFO aliens encounter has been all of that I'd hoped it to be, and I'm still terrified. No, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I really, I saw so many new names in your audience, and it was really cool because I'm familiar with people that follow me and such. But
yeah, that's what's all about, getting the good word out there. And big shout out for all that you do. Keep up the great work. You're incredible on your show, and everybody needs to check it out. So see you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
See you, Superman.